Oh,
All righty then. I see something. I'm not
because
sure
it is
what,
kind of
but
pretty.
looks exciting. Looks exciting.
I was going to turn it around, but it's like, hey, that's kind of cool. So,
Yeah, that's very cool.
to
Yeah,
see that
brilliant.
today. How's that?
Yeah. Wow. Is that an actual candle?
Yeah, it is actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
A smell to it?
Yeah, this one does. This one is eucalyptus and something else, but it's usually like sage and things like that. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
just
Um,
things that are calming, you know.
yeah. And you have to find out what is calming. Like sage, not calming for me.
Oh, it's not.
No, I don't care for the smell at all.
I
Yeah,
when it's mixed with things like sandalwood,
yeah,
amber, eucalyptus, and then there's some others. Which one is this?
yeah.
This
I'm just
is
saying that, for not
yeah,
for all people, all smells are the same. So,
right.
like with
Well, this
CJ,
is
just check, just
right.
check.
Well, this one is eucalyptus and musk. So
Yeah, yeah,
my my aunt gets me these. She
yeah.
I don't know. She likes candles in her house and stuff, and so whenever she has a chance,
Ah,
some candles, and
yeah.
so I've had this
You-
one I think since Christmas.
Brilliant,
But yeah,
brilliant.
I lit my candles this morning because I like to have something in the morning that's kind of
Nice,
calming.
nice.
So
Olivia used to burn things, and she used to burn this one thing in particular. It looks like a little piece of wood, and it has
yeah,
this oily kind of a smell, and it feels like I'm getting this coating in my nasal passage. Oh, it was just torture for me, and she just loved
mhm,
it. Two
yeah.
extreme opposites. I mean, it was
Well,
just
I
the
know
most
what it
horrible
is.
thing ever.
It's a particular kind of wood that they use during
Yeah,
meditation and
it's
cleansing
like,
and all that.
oh, it's just horrible. I mean, I feel like I'm being dirtied, not cleansed. Sorry. I'm being polluted. Really, that's what I feel like. I'm being polluted. It's
I have
amazing.
to a lot of times. So I prefer to like I said, just burn something that's soft, so
Yeah.
that well, for one, it takes out the weed smell. Then I don't have to smell that.
Right,
Um,
right, right.
But
That sage smells very similar to that to me, as that same
it
kind of
is.
a
It is.
obnoxiousness to it. But anyway.
That's why I don't like to burn it by itself.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
a lot of times it has to be mixed with something, and then it kind of
yeah,
usually if it's mixed with something, it's the lower note.
yeah.
It's not the high note. It's not the real top fragrance that you're gonna get. So
Excellent. And CJ's he likes the smells too?
yeah, he does.
Oh, good.
He's
Okay.
very particular
That's
about
wonderful.
them. There's neither one of us like anything overly flowery or
Yeah.
fruity because there's a lot of candles people do like watermelon and banana and all this other stuff. And it's like, no.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that smell is very, very individual. Very
it
amazing
is.
how that is.
It is. I just like my house to smell woodsy, and if I could ever have like,
Yeah.
if there was ever a candle that smelled like, like the old wood, I
Yeah.
don't know, it would be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Well,
Forest.
yeah, there
Well,
you go.
you'll have to figure it out and make one. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I used to do oils and candles and stuff like that, but I never
Yeah.
made them for sale. I just made them for myself.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Very
so
interesting.
on this yesterday, I I really did think that it wasn't going to start until, or that it started at noon. That we would have,
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I
but it's
thought it was starting earlier too, and then it was an hour later. So
yeah,
yeah,
and it's like, oh, okay, well, I can do it now because I couldn't
yeah,
do
that's good.
it.
That's good.
But
Yeah. I like to support her. I was trying something yesterday. That's why my mic wasn't working because I was using the Zoom on my laptop, and
right,
well, I wanted to see if I can do two Zooms at once. It's a long story why that's in any way even relevant or pertinent, but I can do two Zooms at once.
you
just
can or
just
can't.
I can, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't get the mic to work on the laptop, but I don't think that's has anything to do with Zoom. or the
Okay.
other, that's just my laptop is all squirrely at the moment. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Um, so anyways, when I wasn't gonna like really share my drawing because I thought, for one, I was like, wow, okay, I'm not even sure what you're talking about that we were supposed to be collecting.
yeah, seeds,
That
just
yeah, so I
inspiration
really wasn't,
seeds. Yeah,
yeah, and so that part kind of lost me. And then some of the conversation I started getting a little bit distracted by because it's like, it, I don't know, I wasn't in that space yesterday
yeah,
to to be able to get into the whole woo woo spiritual thing about wherever it was they were going.
yeah. It
Um,
don't matter.
right. So I wasn't going to share because that my trees are. I don't know. When I share them, they're very specific to me.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, they are beautiful. Yeah.
so
I hope you color that one in. That had a lot of energy in it, a
yeah,
lot of
they
mood, a
do.
lot of feel, a lot of vibe to it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that one's not done yet. I just so
Yeah.
like I said, I just started with the feeling of a couple lines, but where I was going with that was I realized I was not triggered, but very distracted and bothered by
Mm.
the offering of the opinion of, oh well, this looks like I had no idea what a yoni was. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so I
yeah,
got really distracted by that, and it's like, why would
yeah,
you even say something like that?
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah,
maybe it's appropriate to some
yeah,
people,
yeah.
but
It's just
but
sort
I
of the
felt very
thing. Oh, this
distracted.
looks like that. This looks like this. Is finding things that people do. It's and a lot of people like when people find things in this stuff. So I don't know. It's
Yeah, I
positive and
mean
negative.
that
Yeah.
part was cool, but then it kind of
Yeah.
set the tone for everybody else to pick up on it and start finding other. And it's like, guys, I did not intend this to be anything sexually explicit at all.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I know, I know, I know, I know. But yeah, you just
um,
have to take that stuff with pinches of salt and bags of salt. Never mind
right.
pinches.
So
And like
that's where I was headed.
yeah,
Was it's like,
yeah.
okay,
Well, and just say,
why would I
that's
be
yeah,
offended
yeah,
by that? And
exactly.
it wasn't that I was okay. Part of me felt offended, but then the other part of me was like, okay, wait, that's a judgment I'm making, and I wasn't sure
Wonderful.
why
Good,
I
good,
was
good,
feeling that way.
good, good, good.
Um,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
because and then I explored it further, and I thought, well, okay, um, it wasn't that they were trying to be intimate. It was a mind space that
No,
I was
no.
in.
Yeah, exactly.
And so then I recognized something that
Yeah,
it's like, oh, well, from now on, if I'm absolutely not in a headspace to participate
yeah,
and fully be present in something, I'm going to have to just start telling people, I'm sorry, I just
yeah,
can't be present
yeah.
for this.
Yeah, yeah. Or even better, develop the
Okay.
ability to mood shift as appropriate.
Okay. Well, how do you mood shift when you don't know what your mood is?
Doesn't matter, shift to whatever mood is appropriate for the moment.
Okay.
That's it. I
Okay.
mean, the circumstance then dictates the mood. So in other words, we are now combining mood management, mood shifting with attunement. You attune to the circumstance and you supply the appropriate mood. You bring
Okay.
whatever mood. Yeah.
So kind of like the old examples of that we used to talk about uh, how what's appropriate for a wedding, for a funeral,
Exactly.
for work.
Exactly. Exactly. And it depends on your intent, right? So
Okay.
that's what I was saying. My example always is if you're trying to be a hooligan, then what's appropriate for you to be a hooligan is the opposite of if you're looking to be, respectful or friendly or nice or pleasant or whatever, right?
Okay.
So it's not only the circumstance, but also your intent. So in a
Yeah.
circumstance like that, then you could say, well, my intent here is to be, let's just say, supportive, like mine. I'm there to be supportive. I'm not there to do the program necessarily. Right? That's why I'm there. I'm there to be. Anna's not actually getting this idea of being supportive, by the way.
Okay. Yeah.
It doesn't compute for her. I mean, it just. I don't think that somehow she can't grasp that somebody can do something for purely supportive, altruistic reason. but anyway, it's interesting.
Right.
So, okay, I can be supportive. I can just be friendly. I can be neutral. I can be inspirational, whatever, but if you're not particularly feeling it in a specific way, then you could say, well, let me just go and just be there and just be kind of neutral, or
Okay.
just be participatory, and
Right.
then that's
Right.
fine.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I get
And
that. Yeah.
also, oh,
Because I recognized yesterday, I mean, and then when my God, still I'm trying really hard. I know that not everybody is always going to get along with each other, right? And
yeah,
I try to find something that I can relate to in everybody that I come across,
there you go. There you go.
especially the ones that I feel like I clash with.
Yeah,
And for
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
reason, I feel like I clash with her. And I don't know why. There's no one specific reason other than she tells a lot. There's no sharing, there's telling, there's an insistence of, well, this is how it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
yesterday the whole presentation was coming across as this is how it is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's something that's sort of very interesting to deal with. And going forward, this topic, this topic of meeting people where they are at and
Yes.
having profound, profound, profound consideration, compassion, understanding, awareness, adaptability, diplomacy, etc. This is core of the new nobility logic, right?
Yes.
The noble ideal. In other words, we are going to put ourselves in a position quite deliberately where we are on the unfair, in inverted commas, on the unfair side
On the unfair side of what?
of interactions, of matters.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if
So,
okay, so I'm trying to basically write a note on this. So if I'm understanding you, um, that what I experienced yesterday, that question in myself of how do I meet people where they are, where they
yeah,
are at?
yeah.
That's the purpose of this self expansion moreness project.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
well, one of them, we're going to learn to be exquisite.
Okay.
We're going to go through it right now. We're going to go through
Right.
it. Right, right,
Right.
right. But just to start on this, since you've got this grab here, right? In other words, you saying that you didn't quite feel the thing, and you clash a little bit, and not all people get
Yeah.
along. Well, we're going to learn to get along with people we don't get along with.
There you go. That's what I need to do.
Right, which means we have to say in our old thinking way, that's why I'm saying it's unfair in inverted commas. We are going to do and behave and be in ways which are unfair, not right, imbalanced, distorted, whatever. In other words,
Uh-huh.
and we are going to also, like for instance, with Anana, she's doing a lot of telling and all this. Well, we're going to be listening to telling. All right. Okay. We're in that situation. This is what we're doing. It's how people are, right? Now, we also understand this and know this. Yes. So,
Okay.
so when we look at all of this in that bigger context, we now see that we need to come at matters from our completely alternate angles and intents and purposes and motivations. Yeah.
Okay.
So our motivation is not to get along with people necessarily, but to be understanding in the true capital U understanding. Yes. So we are going to see, we're looking at people from this complete top-down view to say, well, there's Anna, and Anna's been inappropriate. Am I going to focus on her inappropriateness, or am I going to focus on her intent?
Oh,
Now, is Anna an innocent?
is she innocent? Well,
No, 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 not is she innocent? Is she an innocent? There's a difference, a very big difference between the two.
yes, because I would say that she's oblivious to.
Right. But when I say she's an innocent, it's like Bina is an excellent example of an innocent. Bina is somewhat innocent sometimes, yes, but not as much as what one would think. She's a lot less innocent than you might think, right? But it's not about how innocent we are. It's about being an innocent, which means, do we have purity of heart and purity of intent? Yes, that's the key, right? So
Yeah.
you're an innocent as far as I'm concerned. Now, you're probably one of the least innocent people that there might ever be, but that doesn't not make you an innocent. Yes? Because you persistently look for goodness, want a wonderfulness in the world, and this joy of doing good and being good. Right? This is what defines an innocent, right? That there's no such thing as a corrupt negative motivation. See what
You
I
say
mean?
that again. There's no such thing as a corrupt
Negative
negative.
motivation. That doesn't exist, right? All right, you may say, you know what, that person really irritates me, and yeah, but I don't mean crap like that now. I mean
Right.
truly wanting bad for people. No, even though people may be jackasses in this, you still wish good for them.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean not people getting their just desserts, but even then, so you've never had this. You've never, at least that I've ever seen. You've never had wished people harm, wished people
No,
negative. No, exactly.
no. The worst thing I've ever wished is jelly to drop in somebody's lap because they, needed that karma.
There you go. There you go. Right. But again, see, needed the karma.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, it's that, in other words, there's a good intent behind it. It
Yeah.
may it
Yeah.
may be unpleasant for them, but
Yeah.
unpleasant isn't bad. There's a big difference, right? But the
Right.
motivation is good. And not like, I wanted to see them suffer.
Right.
You see?
Right.
That's a whole different logic. That's a whole different logic. So this is very powerful and to understand. So, when you look at people in this way, you're somebody who is, for all intents and purposes, on appearance, is somebody who sort of, more or less got it together in the world. They
Yeah.
functional, they sound sensible, but yet inside there's so much cluelessness. It's unbelievable.
And there's other things I'm picking up, and some of those things I'm picking up, it's like, wow, you are where I used to be, or where I was headed, and if I had
Exactly,
not
exactly,
unstuck
exactly.
myself. Um,
Exactly, exactly. And there's an innocence there, right? Which
yeah.
makes them an innocent.
Okay.
And this innocence is a different kind of innocence to the usual one, right? It's not
Right.
naivety, which is usually what we call innocence, is actually just naivety or
Right.
unawareness. But
Okay.
this innocence is a purity of spirit, and
Okay.
also complete cluelessness, not knowing what to do, and doing
Yes.
whatever it is believed should be done.
Oh,
Right.
definitely trapped in should. I see shoulds all over the place there.
Exactly,
And
exactly,
Bill,
exactly,
honestly,
exactly.
well, and I'm noticing that and maybe that's what this group needs though, is, I'm so glad you're present with them because of that should. The whole group, I feel like, is, so that's why I really liked Matt's question. I see him evolving and starting to go, okay, what more can we do with this? Because we're trapped. I think he feels that they're trapped in should. The whole group is. Paul
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah,
Anna is. And where all this
yeah,
is reminding me of, what it's all reminding me of is how when the gauntlet first started, it had a good idea. It had a good, it had a shot at being relevant, something really helpful. But then it went sideways because it was
yeah,
based on a whole lot of should,
yeah, yeah.
and it never got past it.
Exactly, 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 exactly. Uh, so now when we look at this from a different point of view, and we say, wow, okay, so now I'm interacting here, and I have these deep, deeply different perspectives and understandings. Um,
I
one
can
second.
see things from a different, yeah, I can see things from a different view. Um, it to me, had I not been in a state of awareness of myself, I would not have picked up, and I probably would have just like signed off yesterday and, or just not even gone. But
Exactly. Exactly.
I decided, no, I needed to
Exactly.
go because this is something I said I was going to do, and I must meet what I say I'm gonna do
There
if
you
I
go.
have it
There
in my
you go.
power.
There you go.
Um,
There you go.
what this is reminding me of, something that's unfinished. That unfinished piece is, Miss Robbie. I know you remember her. And I remember the conflict that I had internally. I was trying to figure her out. I was trying to, it's like I couldn't figure out why, I was so affected by her. And I think a lot of it was because I see so much of myself in other people, things that I know I changed. And it's like, God, if I can change it, I know you can too. So please, just why aren't you getting it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But see, there is the stick point right there. And that is how most conventional psychology deals with people. Yeah. Wanting them to change. But from a new
okay.
nobility point of view, we're going to say, nope, it's me.
I have to
I
understand
am
it.
going
I'm
to
the
be
one.
the one. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm the one who has to change because
Correct.
it's not up to them to do the changing. It's up to me. So I get what you're saying about
Exactly.
coming
Exactly.
from that point of understanding others.
Exactly. Exactly. And we are going to be so exquisite that it doesn't matter how much of a jackass somebody is. It's not
Okay.
going to bother us. It's not going to affect us. We're going to get joy out of it. We are going to be able to deal with it, and etc. etc. Right?
So it's ego. Ego says you're the one who needs to change. But if
Exactly.
I'm out of my ego, then that's
Ah,
when
but
I
we're
can
going to
accept
use
I'm the
ego.
one who can change.
But let's get exquisite and say, well, wait a second. But ego is a very powerful motivator, is it not?
It is. It is.
And why do we want to discard such a marvelous engine? Right? If we think of ego as this engine, as a power source, yeah,
Okay.
right? It's just a matter of harnessing that power source appropriately. Yeah. So
Okay.
unfortunately, ego is trained in its satisfaction through domination, right?
Okay. Say that again.
Ego
Real
is
slow.
trained to get its satisfaction via domination or superiority, etc. Right?
Oh, that's why CJ and I clash.
Yeah, yeah, because that's where the logic is. Ego says, in order to survive, in order to be good, in order to be happy, you have to be dominant, you have to be superior, right? That's
Okay.
what I was saying in my quote yesterday, right? What was that quote again? The one I shared with you?
Yesterday,
Yeah,
um, oh, I don't
about
remember.
importance, about importance.
Okay, remind me, please.
I was just saying that one of the most important things we can do is to be aware that what we believe is important isn't so,
Okay.
right?
Oh,
So,
okay, okay,
so you see, in this case, there's this belief that for ego, it believes that what's important is to be dominant, to be superior, etc. Yeah.
okay.
So this is its deep core belief. And of course, this is majorly problematic. Oh, I'm coming outside in the sun. It's going to be a hot day here, but it's actually cold, cold right now inside here.
Oh, yeah, it
Yeah,
was here too.
yeah, yeah. It's very cool. I mean, it's good because it delays the heat, but I'm sitting there getting cold. I'm shivering because I don't want to put on a sweater and get hot. I want to keep my coldness a little bitty, so delay the heating up. Anyway, so this is to say ego has this belief that this is what's important. But what is at the root of this is actually, when you really look closely at ego, it's not specifically needing to get its fix via dominance or superiority. Yes, it really, ego wants to be special.
Yes,
It wants to be important. It wants to be meaningful. It wants to be significant, purposeful. Oh, suddenly we've shifted now. Wow, wow. We were in a whole other space, but I sort of gradually went, one little more, and suddenly we're in a whole other place. Now we say to ego, saying, hey, ego, you want to be special. You want to be meaningful. You want to be purposeful. You want to be significant. What is the most absolute potent way you can do this? Oh, ego says, well, we can be king of the world, or, yeah, and that's been done. It's like big deal. What would be more potent than that? Huh? What about being noble? Oh my God. Oh my God. Yes, you're right. That's way more potent than being dominant and being a bully. That's a lot of work as well. In any case, very dangerous and stressful and hasslesome. But being noble, you can just do this on your own, and nobody can even have to know about it. And this will be the most awesome thing ever. And you'll be fantastic and awesome and brilliant and just wonderful. Yay. You see, now ego's all excited. So now ego wants to be noble. And we utilize ego to be noble. Truly noble. Yes. Now we've got a whole other motivation for ego. Isn't that incredible? And,
Completely,
and,
completely.
and,
Okay,
and
so
you
so
see
if
the
we do
logic of it.
so
Yeah.
do, yeah. So I was just thinking to try and repeat back a little bit, I hope anyway. Giving ego its due can assist with reducing selfishness, make space to understand,
Exactly.
which helps that's putting me, my present sensible self, in that space to understand like why I was having thoughts of judgment that I was having yesterday.
Exactly.
Where if I
Exactly.
would have shifted it and given ego that basically that little bit of run, um, I might have been able to get out of that headspace
Yeah.
and supported Anna
Exactly.
instead of feeling judgmental.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
And also, if you said to ego, hey, ego, what would be the noble thing to do here? Uh,
Oh, okay.
and then our ego's like, oh crap, I never even thought of that before. It's like, wow. Well, see, now ego's in it, like you put it on a whole different footing, right?
So
In a
shifting into
whole other
being
space. Well, noble could be to be supportive, to be understanding. What do you
well,
mean
that's
to
what
be
I'm saying.
understanding?
It's shifting that mood, like you said earlier,
Exactly,
shifting that mood, managing it.
exactly,
That is being
exactly.
noble.
And
Okay.
the key lies in the motivation.
Okay,
Yes.
there it is.
So when we look at mood management, the power of mood management comes because if you
Comes
can
from
shift your
motivation.
mood, you can shift your motivations.
Yeah,
If
you
you can
can.
shift your motivations, you can do anything.
Holy crap. Okay,
Exactly.
if I
Exactly.
can shift.
Exactly. Exactly. So now you're going into this interaction rather than needing to tolerate whatever. My motivation is to be noble. Wow. Suddenly now whatever I'm doing gives me joy, gives me moreness. My understanding isn't something that is a grind and a stress and a bother. No, no, it's not. It's the opposite, right? It
No,
gives me joy.
there's so much power in that.
Exactly. And it matters not one iota what the other person is doing or what they think I'm doing. Yeah. It's totally
Wow.
irrelevant. It's totally irrelevant. I'm there for my reasons. I get moreness
This,
out of it.
I feel like this is the entire foundation to everything so far that has been
Exactly. Exactly. It's not the
presented.
foundation. This is the culmination. Everything else has
Okay,
been the
well, yeah,
foundation.
okay,
That's what you
wrong
meant,
word,
right?
foundation. So the
Yeah. Yeah.
culmination. This is like the bow
Yeah.
on the package.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's what I took you to mean. Yes. You didn't say
Yeah,
it, but that's what you meant. Yeah. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's the most incredible thing ever. It is the most profound motivation. It gets us to be able to do the most incredible things simply because we've learned this understanding of this primacy of this motivation that we now have at our disposal. Right now, of
Yeah,
course, like you said,
changes the
to
view of
get to this
everything.
point, it requires a lot of groundwork before
Yes,
that,
it does.
right?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
right. But
Yeah, you can't just walk
what
into it and get it.
exactly? But what it requires most of all is precisely that one quality that Anna does have, despite all the other stuff that's there, which is that innocence.
Yeah,
Eh, Isn't that something?
that's just mind blowing, actually.
Isn't that just too incredible,
I
Sher?
wish you would take your the way of impeccability. I so truly do.
Hang on, one second. Say that again.
Oh, I said I wish you would take the way of impeccability.
Oh, right, right, exactly, exactly, exactly. Now, you see, we can't necessarily do things for people.
No,
See, and yes, I also wish you would, but you can't make people do things.
no
However, the one thing that we can do, that
influence.
where we can be, and through our being, we can make a difference.
Through our what? Our being?
Our being, yes.
Yeah, through our being.
I can't do
This is
something
true.
to you, but I can be something near you. And simply by being near you, I can be influential.
Okay, that's true. That is very, very true. And here's what I'm noticing, and whether he hears this or not doesn't make a difference. Um, my my shifting it of my energy, focusing on it instead of trying to change his behavior. This is why I'm excited about this. I'm getting it because
Ah,
when I was trying to change his behavior, guide it, direct it, parent it, etc., there was a lot of clash. There was constant
yeah,
fights. It was every day clash, fight.
yeah, yeah,
But then when I stopped and I decided, no, I have to own my energy. I have to own my moods. I'm the one who has to change up my energy.
yes, yes,
And that's when things kind of started calming down. And
yes,
of course, when they rear their ugly head is when he realizes that he himself is the only one responsible for his actions, for his energies, for
yes,
his choices,
yes,
decisions, thoughts, and everything.
exactly, exactly,
And that's
exactly.
when we don't clash, but that's when I notice he gets abrasive because it
Yeah,
bothers him.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That'll come
Awful
in
truth,
time.
awful truth, awful truth.
There it is.
See?
There it is.
Yeah,
But that will come in
yeah.
time when I feel like as he matures, he'll start to grasp because some interesting, he had an experience where he got to stay the night with a friend. Um,
Oh,
and
wonderful,
it, and it
wonderful,
wasn't, well, it wasn't,
wonderful.
but it wasn't permitted. I mean, originally the plan was, yes, you can go over there and play, but I have to have you home at a certain time because you'll need to get your meds and
Yeah, yeah.
you're not allowed to stay out overnight, etc. Well, then it worked out where the kid's mom, got late and she didn't want to bring him back. And I'm like,
Oh,
this is against my better judgment, but I don't have a choice because I
attunement,
don't feel in the
attunement,
dark.
attunement,
Yeah.
attunement. Yeah,
So all of
yeah.
these little things were being put in place. And I noticed I was very irritated.
Mm.
And I thought, okay, there's something that's going to come out of this. And it did. What came out of this was he recognized how good his home actually is.
Oh, that is a bonus. You see how attunement works. It's incredible.
He had some recognitions that how valuable his home is, how much he appreciated me and having him in his life. Um,
Wonderful,
it,
wonderful. What a
there
gift.
were just
What a gift.
all kinds of things that came all of a sudden. It was kind of like, wow, I'm really
Wow.
lucky.
Wow. What
So
what
that was
happened? What happened at the other house?
um, there was drinking. Uh, there was
Oh,
unsafe behavior. There was a very cross, irritable boyfriend to his mom's, his friend's mom had a very irritable boyfriend. Um, there
yeah.
was drinking and there was unsafe behavior, having the boys go down in the dark to where the river is to collect more
Ooh,
firewood, which
wow.
that was the adult's responsibility. So he was triggered. CJ was triggered by a lot of the things that he was experiencing because it all reminded him of living with JB. Then the condition of the house, there was like
Yes.
empty
Yes.
beer cans laying everywhere.
Interesting.
You know, there was just all this behavior that was just like a lot of his old life. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when he woke up and it was, he didn't sleep. And when he got up that next morning, and he texted me, it was like before 5 a.m. And he's like, "Oh,
Says,
you're up." And it's like, "Yeah." So he
come
goes,
get me, come get me.
"Yeah, pretty much. That's what it
Yeah,
was."
yeah,
And
yeah,
I was like, "Well, kiddo, it's dark. I won't drive in the dark. As soon as daylight, I'll come get you."
yeah.
Um, and so we did. I went and got him.
Oh,
But
excellent, excellent.
in the messages, he was very appreciative, though, of,
Yeah, yeah,
he's like, "I'm scared." He's like, "I feel better when he's like, I'm not home and you're not
yeah,
here."
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
so I
yeah,
didn't take any of
yeah.
that for granted, and I didn't tell him, "See, I told you so."
No, of course not. No, you cannot. No,
No,
you cannot.
instead I
When,
just said,
yeah,
when he said, "I really miss you." Yeah, when he said, "I really
exactly.
miss you," and it's like, "I miss
Yeah,
you too." I said, "Lou
yeah,
miss you.
wonderful, wonderful,
We miss having you around."
wonderful,
Um,
wonderful, wonderful,
so I said, "But
wonderful.
I hope you know how important your home is to you." And he
Yes,
said, "Oh, absolutely."
yes, yes,
So even if he does get short with me, as
yeah,
long as I can remember that that's not my energy, that's him
correct,
struggling with
correct,
something.
correct, correct.
So
And
I'm gonna ask
also,
you this, is that
yes,
coming from a place of understanding?
yes, yes. And
Okay.
that comes from what he deems to be important or believes. And here's the thing, whenever JD comes up, I would recommend you say, let's look at what was important to JD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that's gonna be a
because
good way to get him to get
he's
past it.
he's inadvertently adopted those same important standards, and it's messing him up, right?
That there it is right there. Oh, so there's conflict between what was important and what he's being shown to be important to me.
Exactly. In
Okay.
other words, when he went to the friend's house, he realized the real important things. But JD says, no, it's important to be dominant and bossy and bullying and all this
Yes.
crap, right? So, but
Yes.
he's not aware of this difference and this conflict, but he is aware of 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 JD's being a negative influence. And like when he went to the friend's place and the boyfriend was JD, he's now reminded of JD, right? But now
Yep.
he needs to be consciously aware of what the difference is so that he can change, and not adopt that. And then he won't have this conflict. Yeah.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
in JD's world, he cannot be kind and nice and kind and considerate and all of that stuff. That's wussy, that's wimpy, that's feeble,
Yes.
that's terrible, that's weak. Yes.
Yes.
So he's got a conflict. He's got a conflict of what he believes to be important.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes sense then, because
Yeah.
I was experiencing that same thing. When I would see the adverse and negative behaviors, it's like, how could you not know that this is not the way to be? That's not what I've shown you.
Yeah.
So my
Yeah.
beliefs were clashing with his.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly. But it's that he's in this terrible trap because JD's belief system
Okay.
is so corruptive. It doesn't allow him to be him. He's a complete innocent.
Okay.
He's a complete innocent. Look how he reacted to his friend's household.
Yeah. Yeah.
This this
Oh,
this
that.
is
Yeah.
this is he's what bothered him is very opposite of JD logic. But
Yeah.
everything that JD says he should be and must be is all of this tough guy, hero, superhero, dominant, bully, aggressive, all this shit. Right?
Right.
And it messes him up because the now he's in a quandary because he feels he should be what JD says, but what he wants to be is wrong according to JD. It's
Right.
wrong. Not just, well, there's a better way of doing things, here's something different. No, that's actually the opposite. It's wrong. So when he's being nice and kind, according to JD, this is wrong. Yeah, or at least JD culture, JD logic.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
It is, and
So
that's true, and that.
right, right. Right. So whenever he brings up JD in a negative way, and bring up JD's motivations, JD's beliefs.
That's
Right. So
that's good.
now you're bringing it up, and since he's already got a negative with JD in that moment, like in the case now when he with a boyfriend, and now he can start to connect. Oh, what was important to them? What's his culture, right? And say, well, I don't want that culture. I reject that culture. You got to
Oh, I
choose
love
your own.
that.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah. See, so that he doesn't just reject JD the person, but
Right.
also reject JD's culture, JD's philosophy, JD's importance, values.
To me, though, that's also going to be helpful for me because
Oh yeah,
I
oh
can
yeah,
also apply that to other people. I mean, people that I find, like,
exactly,
like, oh gosh, any of it, any of my neighbors, it's trying to find
exactly,
that way to get along and just stay put for a
exactly,
while.
exactly,
It's going to help me
exactly.
understand. Okay, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, yeah,
That's how
yeah,
I get
yeah.
along with the Robbies of the world and the Annas and
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
okay.
Now again, see, we want to learn to see people. Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, some
Not
people
their
aren't
behavior, the people.
exactly, and see their deepness. You know, even with people like JD, you can have compassion. It doesn't make him any less of a shit and any less obnoxious and dangerous. But I can understand where he's coming from. I mean, I doubt if he came out of the box that way. He learned that most likely, through all sorts of corruption. I mean,
Right.
look at CJ. CJ is a wonderfully sweet, innocent kid who's acting like a complete monster. He
Yeah.
isn't a monster,
No,
right?
he's not.
Right,
Not at all.
exactly. So likewise, people get turned into monsters. They aren't that by default, no? So when
Right.
we have this understanding now, just because I understand where you're coming from doesn't change my strategy in dealing with you.
Right.
Yeah. I understand where you're coming from, Lion. That doesn't mean I'm going to put myself in a position where you can eat me. No, thank
Exactly.
you.
Yeah. I'm not going to
Right.
put myself at risk. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Actually, a better example, I keep saying lion, but I should use the polar bear as a better example. Because the polar bear actively hunts humans for food. It's the only predator that actually does this. Lions don't hunt people.
No,
They
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 don't.
will they will attack people and sometimes eat them, but that's a very rare, extreme thing. And you have to sort of be in the way. And yeah, but polar bears, they go after people like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
They see
Any
you, they
bear
go
will.
yum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Exactly.
but my point is, I don't hold it against the polar bear. And just because I understand and I'm compassionate for the polar bear for wanting to eat me, I said, well, compassionate may not be the right term there, but but you get my point. It doesn't make me any
Yeah.
less strategic. Same thing with people. It just makes me not resentful. I don't resent the polar bear for wanting to eat me, right?
Yeah.
I don't resent JD for being crappy and bullying and domineering and all of the other shit that he does, right?
Right.
Dishonest and lying and conniving and all that crap. I don't hold it against him. That's what he's learned. This is what he thinks he should do, right? Even if he knows he shouldn't do it, he's in a bubble that makes him think, wow, whatever. I have complete compassion for people who are in that mindset. It's a very horrible place to be. I don't wish to be in it, and I don't wish it on my worst enemy. But it doesn't make me any less strategic in dealing with him. Yes.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're going to get eaten. So this is
Yeah.
very important to be aware of and understand. And this is our nobility. It's not just about being supremely compassionate, considerate, and understanding. It is also about being supremely strategic. Yes,
Yes.
right. And then when we take the capital D diplomacy and we say, "Wow, wow, I'm going to use strategy to such a profound way that I'm able to exercise my nobility, yes, without the person necessarily even being aware of what I'm doing. And part of doing
That's
what we're
the ethical
doing,
manipulation, right?
exactly, exactly, is that we are going to be in charge, but not in a domineering, bullying way, in a way that nobody even knows. And we're going to lead by walking backwards. Yes?
Now I understand lead by walking backwards.
Yeah, Joe, I mean, JD comes along and he pushes me around. Yeah. And meanwhile, I end up where I want to go. And he doesn't
Yeah,
even know it. He
yeah,
believes he's the one who's determined where we are. He looks around and say, how the fuck did I get here? Well, this is where I want to be. Because, well, I've been pushing around, so it must be where I want to be. Nonsense like that. All right, whatever. I don't care. It's to get the end. And we are always going to be thinking overview perspective. Yeah.
right.
Always got those grand overview understandings and awarenesses. Yeah,
That's so cool.
it is. It's an
Okay,
incredible way
so
to live.
actually, what we're going to be doing then, we're expanding our moreness by looking for others,
They,
looking for the moreness in others.
exactly. Always, always, always. We're not
Okay,
just going to look for it. We're going to see it.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Expand my moreness. Okay, I'm writing notes by seeing the moreness in others.
Yes.
Oh, now Venus post makes sense.
Which one?
Well, she responded to Matt's question. He posted this morning or yesterday about I have to look by seeing the moreness and others. Her response, she said she was able to, let me see if I can find it. I found it really interesting. I was intrigued.
Yeah, now I know which one you mean.
I was so intrigued. It's like, wait, what does that mean?
Yes. Yeah.
I gotta go find the question because now let me see. Hands up, no. No. What is?
Venus had commented, just on the last day of the week, I came to observe something which I could not do before, mainly because of the respect I have for the person. But now I feel proud of myself that it was subtle, but I catch it. That one?
Yeah, that, and it's like, okay. First, I thought that was just really big to me,
Yeah,
anyways. That was a
yeah,
big move to be able to make. And then I thought to myself, wow, I've been there. I've done that where
yeah,
because I held somebody in such high esteem and regard. And when I saw something and I thought at the time it bothered me. It's like,
yeah,
ooh, I don't like that quality. And it's like, oh, but wait, I have to accept that's who they are. That's a
yeah,
part of me.
yeah,
So that's a big thing to me anyways, for somebody to be able to not only recognize, but to do, and then to write about it. I thought that was huge. So then I got to thinking, it's like, oh, okay, is that part of this process of
yeah.
being able to see the moreness in other people, whether we approve of it, like it or not, doesn't matter.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly, exactly, exactly. But mourners is not.
Judge them. She just said that she
Yeah.
recognized a trait in somebody.
Exactly, exactly. And mourners, when we see mourners in others, it just is. It's always more. It's always and it's a positive. It's always a positive. Yeah, yeah,
That, wow. Okay. I'm
yeah,
trying I guess basically I'm kind of trying to absorb a lot of this. So then all right. So what I posted yesterday about intimacy, that was super deliberate because I really had to focus in on that because it's like, wait a minute. And it all stemmed from, Anna's comment on my trees, and what she said, and then how it left me feeling. And then that went over into, all right, why am I offended? And it's like, well, because somehow or another I am mixing up the intimacy with sexuality. And it's like, no, that's what I drew
yeah,
was
yeah,
energy. And what I was sharing,
yeah,
I felt was intimate. But if
yeah,
I'm going to be sharing, I'm also going to have to be willing to accept you know, other people's responses to what I share
Exactly.
without judgment.
Exactly. And it doesn't mean that if they have a perception that you can't steer it and guide it to where
Yes,
you want to go and say,
right,
well, that's interesting that you see it that way. You know, I never even had a thought of that, and it wasn't part of it, but that's interesting that you do see it. Now, of course, you know, if you're going to put your art out there, which you may not necessarily do, then you're going to be aware that even if you didn't intend this, people might see it, right?
right. I wrote something. Oh, okay. This is what I wrote. Well, on the, I wrote several words on the bottom of it to remind myself of what this was. Okay, so when I originally, the energy from this, I'm just going to pull it up for you. The energy from this was source. I put that it was life source or a base. This was a base of my energy. This is what I was feeling. And then I also wrote on there to tree, and then in parentheses, I put B. So what was I
You
being
put
yesterday?
what? You put what in parentheses?
B.
B-E?
B.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
B. So that's what I did. These were like the little notes that I wrote on here yesterday for myself. Because my energy, I was feeling strong. I knew I wasn't like following the exercise where, you know, she was like looking for shapes. Because to me, this was my thought, as I recall clearly. I cannot force my drawings. I can't force what I visualize. I can't forcefully draw a shape and
Yes,
then pull
yes,
something from it. I can't. I,
yes,
to me, that's like trying to force a feeling. Because what I draw is what I feel, and that's what I was feeling yesterday. Was, you know, strong, steady, um, a lot of confidence,
yeah,
but you know, but I wasn't feeling all over the place. I was
yeah,
just feeling
yeah,
very deliberate. And yes, I will
yeah,
color it in. It's just not done.
yeah, yeah. And when you do color it, you can now color to de-emphasize that shape.
Yes, I will. I will. Because to me, I
So it
still
was
don't
a
see
gift.
it.
So it was a gift, that
I
perspectives
just see
for
a space here. Yeah, all I see is a space. To me, that's a
right,
space. That's like the
right,
sky and the air or whatever
right,
behind it.
right, right. But now you can, because you know, them sharing that made you aware of a potential perspective, and of course you can now de-emphasize that and take it elsewhere. So it was a gift, no?
Yeah, yeah, it was. It was. And I just,
And that's how we
you
want to
know,
look at it.
I understand how some of them were saying, oh, well, you know, it looks like feminine energy. And it's like,
Yeah,
I don't even find that in this. I find that, to me
yeah,
anyway, where
yeah,
my perspective was coming
yeah,
from. And I thought,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
everybody else's
yeah,
perspective. So why am I judging them?
yeah.
And that's when I realized it's like, oh, okay, you know, I have not defined yet. I was offended. This is where I'm going with this. I felt offended because it brought to my awareness that I had not defined yet what intimacy was for me. Um,
It always comes back to you in the
yeah,
end.
it does. I had not defined. Nobody was
Yeah,
offending me. I was somewhere in my mind. I was like, Sherry, what are you being offended at when you don't even understand what, you know, your own
exactly,
self?
exactly, exactly. In other words, you were offended at your own ignorance.
Yes, exactly. I was, you know, especially when I didn't even know what the words were that they were using. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
but I
yeah.
felt confident enough to ask. And then
Right,
when she
right.
told me, I was
In
a
other
little bit
words, it
embarrassed.
just made you feel a bit stupid, and that's the issue.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, you got to
exactly.
get over this feeling stupid. We are stupid. End of story. That's just
Yeah.
how it is.
But,
You
you
know.
know, and to me, that's just somebody else's language. And
Exactly,
it was just me
exactly,
not being able to
exactly,
interpret their language.
exactly. Yeah,
I'm not always bilingual for everything. And we're
exactly,
not going to know unless we ask, but we have to feel
exactly.
confident enough in ourselves to ask. So I thought, well, okay. There was no reason to feel stupid. I didn't
Right,
know, so I asked the question of
right,
what that was.
right,
But then
right.
what bothered me, and this brought it back to something else, was because I said like I had not defined yet for myself what intimacy is, and I had the misunderstanding
Yeah,
and that okay to to most people, the common understanding of intimacy is it's sexually related.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not that I'm what do you call it? I am open, but I'm not that much of an open book,
Yeah.
especially when
Yeah.
it comes to things that are private and intimate. And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
topic, for bringing it up yesterday in a forum where I don't know these people well enough to be
Yeah.
having that kind of conversation, that's what offended me.
Yeah. 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 But now look at this from a new nobility point of view. Or at least as aspirants, that's what we are. We're aspirants, right?
Right,
We say,
right.
whoa, you know what? That language of being offended and bothered, that has to go.
Yes, it does. It
Uh,
absolutely does. That's why I said I was
it's
really bothered
completely and utterly corruptive.
by
And
it.
to say I was bothered, think about whenever you say that, how it gets picked up by CJ and adopted by CJ as well. This is how the world works. This is how people are. They are
So I
bothered
could
by
change it
stuff.
to curious.
Say again?
I could change it to curious.
Exactly.
I was
Exactly.
curious about my God.
Exactly. Exactly. Because now by saying it in that way, you are communicating that this is a way to be. It's normal. It just is, right?
Okay.
You see, whereas when you say, no, if you say I was bothered and you're like, oh, and you're horrified, oh my goodness, I was bothered. I didn't want to be bothered. I don't ever want to be bothered. It's not appropriate to be bothered. I can't justify being bothered.
Right.
Oh, now it's a whole different ball game, right?
Yeah, it is.
So this is where, we come at things from this profoundly different angle. And our deepest point is, I am the one responsible. Me.
Yeah, that's it right there.
No one else. If
No
I'm
one else
bothered, it's
is.
not them, it's me. In other words,
Right.
implied in your bother, right? If you look through it and you investigate a little bit, oh, but sure, aren't you essentially putting blame onto your feelings onto somebody else?
Yep, that's
Yes, you
projection.
are. It's like, hello,
Yeah.
well, that's a terrible way to live. Whether
Yes.
it's true, whether it is true or not, let's assume they are literally responsible for making you feel something. Well, then you need to change how you are so that people don't have that power over you.
Exactly. Either way, it comes back to me.
Exactly. Exactly.
No matter which way
Exactly.
I slice it, it all does. And
Exactly.
that's something that I'm really grateful that at least um, that I am aware that I must always be in that mindset that it
Yeah.
does come back to me, no matter
Yeah.
what.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we're taking our spirit warrior self-conception and we're just amping it up to the next level. This aspirant new noble. We are aspiring to be new nobles, which is and in this aspiration, we are going to use the energy, the motivating, this power source of ego. It's like a nuclear power source. It can be made into a bomb, or it can be made into, clean, pure, wonderful energy. Yes.
Right.
Same
Yeah.
thing. Same thing. And
Good. Okay, so that's as an aspirant.
right,
Um,
we're going to aspire, and we're going to say, take all of our ambitions of ego, right, and we're going to transform them into aspirations, and that's why we call them aspirant. Because we're aspiring to be more. We're aspiring to be awesome. We're aspiring to be magical. We're aspiring to be potent. We're aspiring to be strategic, sensible, understanding, aware, compassionate, everything. We're aspiring to be the absolute best that we can possibly be. How can ego not like that?
no, yeah,
See?
that's true.
It's just a
Oh,
matter of leveraging ego. Ego is
how
it's blind. It just does whatever. Yeah, it's a tool.
did
It's
you
just
do
an
that?
energy source. Say again?
I just said, how do you do that? You took from the question that I had earlier about, well, how do we leverage ego? And you completely answered it now.
Yes, 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 because there's a power there, there's an intent there, and it comes from understanding this, right? This is the key, is to really, really understand how it works, to
My
understand that
overall
that
intent.
that ego is just an energy, it's just a motivation, it's a gift, in other words. and we need to use it appropriately. So I'm understanding leverage. I'm just was leveraging ego.
Golly.
Yeah. And through association management. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really
It,
cool. It's really, 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 really cool.
wow.
It's transformative. Yeah.
Well,
Ego.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so now this really helps too, because I had a question at the end of what I was writing yesterday, and my question was how does um, intimacy relate to moreness, boundaries, and there was another word that I had put in there. No, I don't remember. Oh, anyways, I was trying to figure out, okay, so what's my connection? Why is my botheration connected to all of this? And I feel like now I'm going to be able to answer that.
Yeah.
Just because,
Yeah.
I mean, even though moreness is individual, at the same time, it's not always private. It is very public,
Yeah.
especially if
Yeah.
we're going to be
Yeah.
vulnerable
Yeah.
with our sharing.
Yeah. This idea of privacy, it's complete and utter myth.
It's gotta be.
How much, as you've come to know me, right, and my ability to see into people, how much is really private?
Yeah, nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Exactly. Exactly. So part of our new nobility is being completely public.
Okay,
Not
with-
necessarily in actuality, but internally. We're going to live as if we lived in a complete glass cage with cameras on us 24/7.
okay, and at the same time, oh dang it, where'd that thought go? Oh, okay, there it is. At the same time, it doesn't mean that I have to necessarily give access. Okay, that's being open, it's being very
Yeah.
public,
Yeah.
vulnerable, but at the same time, I also don't have to give 100, but I can be discerning about who I give access to.
Absolutely.
Who gets access
Absolutely.
to what?
Absolutely.
That's
That's a
why my
strategy.
boundaries.
That's
Okay,
a strategy. I'm not giving you access, not because I'm embarrassed or ashamed,
right.
because that's impossible for me to be. As a new noble, this is impossible. As way of impeccability, it's impossible. How can I possibly ever be embarrassed? If I'm deliberately doing whatever I'm doing for the right reasons, how can I possibly be embarrassed? It's not
Oh, wow.
possible.
Wow.
Totally impossible. Cannot be.
Really
How can I
body
possibly
that.
be ashamed if I'm being impeccable? I'm doing things for the right reason. My motivations are right. My intents are right. I have clarity of intent. How can I possibly be ashamed? It's not possible.
Wow. That
So
that that just puts a whole new spin on everything.
exactly. So now though, so now when we said in terms of giving access, you're a jackass. And if I give you access, you can abuse or manipulate my things. I've got nothing to hide, but I don't want to give you access either. I got nothing to hide in my bank account, but I'm not going to give you access to it. See?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if you
Okay.
say with a bank account, it makes total sense. Well, what's the difference between your other stuff? Yeah? Doesn't matter. See, so when you look at things in this way, then it changes. It changes entirely. We're not doing things because out of fear of embarrassment or shame or whatever nonsense motivations. No, it's strategy.
No,
Strategy that matters, right?
but
That
he just
determines.
highlighted it. You just highlighted a question that TJ asked me the other day. He said, "Well, why are finances private?" He said,
Yeah,
because he goes something about, he asked me something about, how much I make for whatever. And it's like, that's not something that we discuss. And he goes, well,
yeah,
why not?
yeah.
He said,
That's a good question. It's a good question.
well, and I couldn't answer it. I just said, well,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's not done.
Yeah, see, and that's a terrible answer. That's a terrible answer.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know. And I
yeah.
realized it was. I knew
Yeah.
it
So
was.
so
I
go
just
back
said,
to him and say, look, I gave you a dreadful answer, because I hadn't thought it through yet, and I knew there was a good reason, but I couldn't connect to it right away. And here's why. It's simply a strategic matter, because
yeah,
people can abuse this and take advantage of it, and so you have to be aware that unfortunately not everybody has integrity and it's impeccable, and they can take advantage of it. If we lived in on nobilia, well, Everybody has access to everybody's accounts if they want.
Yeah, actually,
You
we
know,
probably wouldn't even have money. So,
yeah,
you
right.
know,
Yeah.
at least in my opinion, I
Yeah,
feel like the
yeah. I
world
mean,
would be much better off.
there is in a way, because it's just a unit of energy, and it's just to make things, because you're still dealing with the agglomeration, which is the bigger world. But yes,
Yeah.
on Nobilia itself, there's no real need for money and no use of it. Yes, yes.
So, the, okay, so as a starting point, starting on this project as a starting point, um, it, I inadvertently tried to answer those questions yesterday, and I'm still working with them.
Yeah,
What's my intent? Well, my overall intent is to understand
exactly,
everything from a major
exactly.
overview perspective, not just overview, but from a
And
serious
and
overview.
and there's an intent that is more than understanding. You say, well, really? Yes, the intent to be noble.
Okay, I'm afraid to say that.
Ah, exactly, 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 exactly. Now, it is an intent to be. It's not a claim of being noble, not yet. It's an
Okay,
intent to move towards that. That's why we start as aspirants. So we can say, all right, well, you know what? I struggle to say an intent to be noble. I do as well, sure. So I said, my intent is to be an aspirant. Oh, okay. That I can handle.
okay, right now I can handle. My intent is to be an aspirant.
There you go. Exactly. You see, because we don't want to claim nobility when we
Right.
aren't there yet. Yes. But doesn't mean that we don't have that as our longer term intent, but we're not even going to name it just yet. We're going to just be an aspirant, which is we're going to aspire to this.
Yeah.
and
Well,
that's
because it's,
legitimate, right? And and
uh,
and see, you see, this is the core of right there. When we read the story, you'll understand there is a point
it's
where this
sort of interesting.
becomes, it's a big part of the story, and just remember it for later. It's a very powerful thing, very,
Well,
very
see, that's
powerful
why
thing.
I've always related to Ursula because I dug her
Yeah,
position. I mean, she started out and
yeah,
she never really had an idea that that could be possible. That she
exactly,
could actually
exactly,
be, an
exactly,
expert.
exactly. And what Ursula does is really, it's remarkable. Yes, it's very similar to what you did, by the way.
What to? Okay, well, you're going to have to remind me of that, or I'll find that when we get to
Yeah,
that point.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
um,
Yeah. But,
I don't
well,
know.
what she does is she recognizes moreness and she changes in order to grab onto it.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm having to do
And that's
because
what you did.
it's been
That's what you
it's been
did.
a slow coming to me.
Yeah,
I always felt awkward, because I would hear you talk about it and Dina and other people, and it's like, but I don't grasp it. I couldn't. But that's
yeah,
because I had such a very harsh view of
yeah,
myself.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so as I'm letting more of my old self go
yeah,
and figuring out
yeah,
who I really am, um, and accepting that, you know what, yep, I'm a good person.
yeah,
Um, one thing to say it, something else completely different to accept it. There's two great big, there's like a canyon difference between the two. That's why it's kind of almost hard to just say, well, the intent is to be noble. I would
exactly,
love that.
exactly, exactly, exactly. But it's a very private, private thought. Yes.
Yes, it is. It is. And
Yeah,
that's why I said not everybody gets access
yeah,
to those
yes,
aspects of me. They
yes.
just
And
don't.
because it's strategic too.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
again, too,
it's got to be worthy. People who know these things about me, that I will share, like in my
absolutely,
book that I'm working on and
as
the things
appropriate.
posted.
Yeah,
Yes, I will share as appropriate. I
yeah,
will share the tips and the tools and the things that I feel are relative and that are safe to share.
yeah,
Um, Common, more or less, things that people can understand. But then there's other parts that will
yeah.
never be shared except for those who are in that innermost intimate circle, the
Right,
people
right.
that,
As appropriate, always
yes,
as
yes,
appropriate. That's what we live by. That's what we live by.
okay,
What we are going to be doing with the nobility perspective and becoming aspirants is to expand the scope and the possibilities and the range of what is available to us as appropriate options.
Okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
In other words, when you deal with people who are silly and foolish and idiotic, what was appropriate was to be annoyed, irritated, bothered. We're going to say, whoa,
Right.
wait a second, we've got additional options that are appropriate. Now,
Oh,
nobility is not an option that most people, or I've never met anybody who
yeah.
sees noble, something that connects from a noble motivation. They don't have this in their mindset as an appropriate option for them.
This is true.
They understand it to be an option, but not for them. Why not?
They don't
This
feel
is
that
the
they're
key
good enough.
question. They don't feel like it's justified for them to be noble. Why not?
Right. Why not? That's a good
Exactly.
question.
And this is what we're going to do. We are going to make sure and ensure through our specific training and focus and practice that we enable appropriateness to nobility to be appropriate for us. So we are going to raise our level of being where we can say, yes, to be noble is an appropriate option for me.
I love that, what you just said,
Yeah.
raising my level of being.
Yes. To where nobleness is appropriate for me.
Of being,
Yeah.
to where nobleness is appropriate for me. I love that.
Yes. And let's understand something here. Nobleness is not required.
Right.
Nobleness, by its very definition, is bonus goodness. It's above and beyond. It's unnecessary. You don't need to do it. It's pure, pure, pure choice. 100% pure choice. No
100%
need
pure
to be
choice.
noble. This is very, very critical to understand.
You don't have to. You don't have to be
You don't have to
noble
be it.
to
Absolutely not.
aspire. Right. You don't have
Right.
to be noble to us to be an aspirant. No. No. No.
Right.
No.
Well, I don't mean that. I mean, in itself, nobility is something that is not
Aspire.
required of anybody. It's not
No.
on that path of shoot, like when you being a good person, you know, you get
Oh,
to
good
good
Lord! Like in
it,
religion,
exactly,
religion tells you you must be repentant. You must
exactly,
be like
right. But
24/7.
right. But according to the logic of goodness, which we all have, nobility is bonus goodness. It's
Yeah.
above and beyond. It's extra. Yes. In other
I
words,
like.
let's say I'm on the cruise ship, yeah, and somebody falls over and I see they can't swim. Yes. And
Yeah.
well, my goodness, it says I got to throw the life belt, the life preserver out to them.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my goodness. That's my requirement. I can't stand by and do nothing. My goodness
Right.
won't allow
Right.
me. But
Yeah.
I don't have to jump overboard and help them get into the life preserver and make it easier for them and less stressful because yeah, all right, they would have survived, they would have gotten it, but man, such trauma that they were undergoing. Okay, so I jump in and help them. This is bonus. I don't have to do this. See?
Oh, absolutely not.
See my point? It's not the best of examples, but it's hard to find examples. Right? But
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm trying to make the point that my goodness says I have to do something. I have to throw the life preserver. If I don't try the life preserver, they drown, and that's not acceptable in the code of goodness. But me jumping in there and helping them and doing all this is just it's extra effort. It doesn't have to be done. But it's not like they're going to drown if I don't do this. And even if they are going to drown if I don't do this, if I'm potentially putting myself at risk to drown too, it's an either or thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So you see what I mean? So nobility is always bonus, 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 bonus. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And that's a very key point to say because we need to keep this in the absolute not just the forefront of our awareness, but exuded in our very being, that nobility is bonus. Because if I go around being noble and I don't have this, I'm going to inadvertently cue that others are supposed to be noble also. No. What I do is above and beyond. It's bonus. It's my predilection. It's my choice. It's my quirk. It's just, that's just what I feel like I want to do. It's purely me indulging myself. This is the vibe that we put out.
I like
you see
that.
my point? So that I
Yes.
don't make people feel bad for not being noble. No.
Yeah.
No. No. This is
There you
my
go.
thing. This is my doing, and that's it.
And it also, it to me anyways, it just becomes a automatic question of not being better than someone. It's just
Exactly.
choosing to do differently
Exactly.
for yourself.
Exactly. That's it. I'm not doing this so that I can be better. I'm doing this because it's my thing that works for me. It's like,
Okay, kind of like I say
why,
about,
right.
yeah, like
I,
I say about being unbound. It's I'm choosing to be different, not better. Not better than
Exactly.
you or anybody
Exactly.
else.
Exactly. And rather than even saying I'm choosing to be different, I'm choosing to be personal.
Oh, okay. Oh, well,
I'm
that makes
choosing
sense.
to exercise what is my personal predilection, my personal joy, my thing.
That's the connection
I'm
between
being personal.
intimacy and moreness.
Exactly.
That's my connection between intimacy and moreness, is choosing to be, this is personal.
It's personal.
I
Exactly. I'm
love that.
choosing to be personal. Yeah.
I love
I'm
that.
sharing my most personal with you. And this is why I want to do the nobleness on Facebook Live and put it out there, because
Yes.
it's very personal to me. This is what makes me me. This is my most personal moreness. That is the be all and end all of everything, as far as I'm concerned. For me, for me,
Ouch.
it's for me. I'm
Yeah.
sharing my for me. I'm sharing my deepest, most profound for me. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that really shifts to my intent for, like,
Exactly.
why do I want others to know about being unbound? Well, it
Exactly.
really does. It
Uh,
clarified it and
It's
just put
your
together what I've been
thing.
looking for.
Right, right.
Yeah.
It's your thing, right? Say, oh,
Yeah.
that's Sher's thing. Yeah, being about Sher's thing. It's perfectly justified. When I say that's your thing, uh, does that imply I have to also do it? No, that's Sher's thing. It's not my thing. It's your thing.
Yeah. This is why it's important to me. This
Exactly.
cool.
And exactly. And
Now I
nobility,
get it.
likewise, is for those who want to do it. It's a thing they want to do, and it's no have to, and doesn't imply anybody's. If I don't choose it, doesn't make me bad. I
Right.
admire you for choosing it, but it doesn't
Right.
make me bad for not choosing it. This is very key to the new nobility, right? This is a
Exactly.
key. So when they go around in the greater public, people enjoy them, they admire them, they respect them. So, man, these people put a lot of work into what they do. It's really fantastic. It's like the Olympic athletes. I admire them, but I don't want to be an Olympic athlete. It's like, wow, I think it's fantastic what you do, but I think you're also crazy for doing it. Well, it's very similar with the new nobility. There's maybe a little bit of a tweak there, right?
Yeah, but
Because,
still, it makes more sense to me too. It also helps me.
absolutely. I mean, people have much greater respect for the greater
Yeah.
nobility, for the new nobility than for an Olympic athlete. Okay, what you're doing, it's quite wonderful. I admire your energy and effort, but does it really matter? No, not really. But nobility, does it really matter? Well, yes, it does.
It can make a difference.
It makes it, or it in the whole agglomeration, it makes an intense difference. It's
Yes, it does.
the whole system works, and it works really well, because they're the glue that holds it together. They're a necessary ingredient. Yes.
See, so this is really, this is so huge for me this morning. I
Yeah.
couldn't figure out why. Again, here's another word that I was struggling with, this collective consciousness.
Yeah.
I don't want, how do I put this? I do not take to the term collective consciousness, just
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
to me it
Yeah.
has that hive mentality. And when
Yeah. Exactly. It strips
I
us of
think
our
that,
individuality. Yes.
there you go. To me,
Yes.
that takes away
Yes.
individuality.
Yes.
It's great that everybody's together and that they're kind of in the same think tank.
Yeah.
But let everybody in that think tank have a different view.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I
Right.
can appreciate
Exactly.
somebody else's view,
Exactly.
but I
Exactly.
don't
We
want
can have a
somebody else thinking
collective awareness, which is different to a
collective
collective
awareness. I don't
consciousness.
like the collective consciousness
Correct.
idea.
It's very different because collective consciousness implies we are all thinking a lot and we are connected, and my thinking is affected by yours. No, but
I'm thinking
collective
the board. Every time I
awareness.
hear
Right.
collective, I think board.
Right. It's
And
exactly, it's internal versus external.
yeah,
Collective awareness is something that's external, and we tap into that. Collective consciousness is something internal that we don't really have much of a choice on.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, yeah.
And I think collective
Right.
consciousness, I think all kinds of horrible things like Hitler.
Exactly. I got a joke for you with Hitler in a moment here. So
Okay.
this point about collective awareness, this is the whole magic nobility of the new nobles.
See, I
And
love
the new
that.
nobility say their mandate is being.
Yes.
It's to be tree, in other words. Now look at
Yeah.
trees and look at suns, right? Either way, sun just bees, just is, and it's being, it's ising, is putting out sunlight, which you get to benefit from if you choose. You can
Right.
also get, dried up from the sunlight. You can get burnt from the sunlight, whatever, right? You can die of cancer from too much sun, whatever. Right? It can be beneficial, but it's how you use it that matters, right?
Right.
Same thing with oxygen that the trees put out. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's fantastic, but if you got a fire, not so good.
Right. Right.
I mean, I've got that whole story, the detriments of the oxygen personality. Yes.
Mm. We'll have
Yeah.
to go over that one.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
will. We'll have to go over
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're an oxygen personality, you go around and, well, you're trying to do good, right? And you add oxygen to an inflamed situation, and what do you do, right? If there's heat and you come with your oxygen personality, suddenly you get a fire, raging fire. Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we gotta be
Okay.
be careful. You're trying to do good. I'm good. I'm oxygen. I'm life. Yeah, it's a yeah, it's a fuck
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
But you
So,
can
but
also, yeah.
right, exactly. But as a new noble, you know that sometimes you got to put out oxygen, and also like a tree, sometimes you put out carbon dioxide. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
You
wow.
you gotta. So in other words, you're always enhancing in whatever way possible. Yes, but
Um.
without forcing anything, without pushing anything. Yes, I'm
Yes.
supplying the necessary ingredients. The oxygen and the carbon dioxide can be used by whatever in order to enhance. I'm not forcing it. Yeah,
Yes.
providing tools. I'm providing options. Yeah, this is the utmost of nobility. Is not forcing, but providing choice. Yes,
Yes.
providing
I
choices
have
which aren't necessarily available. Yeah, go
right.
ahead.
I was going to say, I have to get CJ ready for an
Okay,
appointment. We've got
okay,
at noon.
okay.
His, we get to learn about his mentor program today, which, by the way, I thought was really interesting. I'm going to turn this around. Um, I thought it was really interesting yesterday when I mentioned to him that his mentor was coming. Well, not mentor, the program director for the mentor program
Yeah.
is coming to the house today to meet with CJ and I so that they can um, talk to us about the program and get him
Wow.
going with his match. So,
Wonderful.
anyways, when I was
Wonderful.
reminding him of this yesterday, he's like, "So who's going to be my mentor?" And he goes, "So," and I said, "Well, no, this is for this program." But this is like the second or third time he has mentioned this.
Wow.
Somewhere in the back of his
That's
mind,
huge. That's really cool.
I
That's
know,
really cool. That's
but
really wonderful.
somewhere in the back of his mind, he does want that. He wants you
Absolutely.
to
Absolutely.
mentor him.
He's got this conflict of what is believed to be important.
Okay.
It's messing him up. What CJ believes to be important conflicts with what the JD and that logic, the BMN logic says is important. The world says is important. And
So
he
you
can't
would be
acknowledge. Yeah.
you're the good in the conflict, and the other people,
Yeah.
some more harsh
Right.
people, harsher men would be the JD in the
Right.
conflict.
Now in JD's world, what CJ is his innocence, his pureness, his goodness, which he gets from you, is seen as weak and bad.
Yep.
There's the conflict.
Yep.
There's the problem.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's why, all right. So I'm just
Yeah.
going to let it kind of continue to
Yeah.
stew. I'll
Yeah.
continue to encourage and not,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm just going to let it take its course with trying to steer using
Yeah.
some strategy.
Yeah.
All right. So anyways, we got to get ready for that appointment.
Okay,
but
let me share my joke with you here real quick.
Okay. All right.
Since you mentioned Hitler now, and you
Yeah.
know, so come on. There we go. We must respect our elders. No one respects their elders anymore. Yes. It's just terrible what Hitler did to all those old people. Ugh, Hitler is so disgusting, so rotten and pathetic. What a creep and a loser. What an idiot. Hitler's your elder, isn't he?
Oh.
Exactly. Oh.
That's an owl.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
So,
my.
right. I mean, you know, this is from the obvious isn't always obvious. The first line we all agree with, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We must respect our elders. Yeah, I get that.
No one respects their elders anymore, you know. And then there's the agreement here, you know.
I want to show you what I changed. I'm going to turn my screen around, okay? Because I got to show you this. Where's my screen? I don't know where I went. There I am. Before I go, I wanted you to. Well, now I can't figure out how to turn me back around. There. Okay, I found it. Look what I changed.
Yes. You put that in there. Yeah. And now you really made this. You've got 3 trees going.
Yes.
That's one. I love this. Genius.
Yeah. That really, that to me, that finished it, that pulled it together. Now what I do, these lines here, I'm going to turn this upside down, and then I'm just going to basically make the shadows the reflection.
Wonderful.
So that people know that this is water.
Yeah.
I don't know how to draw water, and it is what it is to me. But this
you don't know how to draw water yet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
thank you. I love this. To tree. Exactly. This is what we are going to be learning. To tree.
Well,
this is the essence.
This is the beginning. Yeah,
absolutely.
This is the beginning.
It's so magical.
Beginning of a whole forest.
So magical.
Yeah.
So magical. Yeah. So share your excitement at being an aspirant with CJ.
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
Because I hope he would aspire to be an aspirant also.
So do I. I think he's starting to.
He does.
Yeah. But I think he's starting to embrace the little bits and pieces of liking being good and the simple things.
Exactly. You know? And he saw that yesterday or with the day with the visit. This was very huge.
I don't expect perfection. I just don't.
Correct.
And he's slowly letting go of that idea that that's what I wanted from him.
But moreness is not perfection.
Right. It's not.
We can expect moreness because it's well within the capabilities of anybody to bring forth their moreness.
It is.
Yeah.
And I can model that. I can at least model that for him.
Exactly. Okay. And expect moreness, get moreness.
Yeah, that's true.
Very simple. It is the most profound cueing.
Yeah. You guys proved that to me. So yeah.
Exactly.
Or I proved it to myself. One of the two.
Exactly. Anyway. But we provided an environment.
You did. And you still did.
It's very specific and was very intended, right? And deliberate and strategic. Right from the beginning, I do this. The whole program was set up for that, right? To cue moreness. It goes way back when I was 16. Yeah.
Where, you know, I often wonder. I really do. I wonder things like, had certain specific people stayed with the program and continued on with it, who they would be right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do, you know,
Like who?
Robbie,
Oh,
who
right.
she would
Right.
be,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
even, or
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Christina,
Yeah.
any of them.
It is a wonderful, wonderful wandering. Never ever let go of that, because it's what drives us, what motivates us, and one of the things that gives us value and purpose, because we know that this wandering, it's always there, so that whenever you meet somebody, you see that culmination of your wandering in them.
Their potential.
Exactly. But it's more than a potential, it's an actuality, like in your case. Yes, it's technically a potential, but it's actually an actuality, right?
Okay, I understand that. I
Right.
can see that.
It's a nuance of perception. If I
Oh,
see you as
it is, because
potential, it's like,
potential is limited. Potential
exactly,
is limiting.
exactly. And
But when
also to
we,
say you have potential, it's saying that I might have something. To say that your moreness is an actuality to me, I'm saying you have it.
okay,
Not that you
big
might
difference.
have it, you have it, not might. I
Okay.
see it already in you. You're just not utilizing it. You're not exercising it. But that's your choice. But I see it in you. Very different thing. I see it as an actuality, not as a potential.
Now that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
God, that's how important language is. Ooh, what a powerful
Oh, it's
example.
crucial. It's crucial.
The
We are going
difference
to be
between,
exquisite in everything, particularly language and thinking and conceptualizing and abstract understanding, overview. Absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
amazing. Okay, so
It
exercise for
is.
me.
It is.
Where would you like me to continue on with that question, or what?
Yes, and also just to ruminate on what
Okay,
we discussed. Just let it
okay.
sink in, just let it absorb, just let it apply, and let it connect to the world around you. In other words, the question is, how am I going to be different? Profoundly, profoundly, incredibly, magically, awesomely, wonderfully different.
Okay.
Yes, look at that. Look at that smile. Look at that smile. Yes. We are going to be different. It's a different world we're going to live in.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm
And that
excited for
isn't
this.
that awesome? Isn't that
This will
awesome?
be good.
And
This will
and
be
and
good.
and sure, we are
Yeah.
going to do this. And I'm thinking of two things that I want to do. One,
Okay.
to make the group private, and I may or may not, because I'm really reluctant to not have what I do public. Right? I mean, the only reason I'm looking to make it private is so that I don't have to deal with all the crap applications and the spam and all that shit.
Yeah.
But but the second thing is to change the Facebook Live
Yeah.
from
I,
Friday to maybe Sunday.
oh, there's a cool one.
All right.
Well,
Just so
okay.
that,
So
yeah.
why on Sunday? I mean,
Well, just so that people that are working, because some people said,
there you go.
well, I can't come because I'm working. So
Yeah.
that's it, just to do it on a non-work day.
Yeah.
And
Sunday's a good day.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then also to do potentially do our sessions live.
Okay. Yeah. That would be cool. I
Yes.
could do that.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
would be great. I mean, it's no different to what we're doing now. It's just that we just
Yeah.
do them live. That's it.
Yeah.
And if you want to
Yeah.
see what's going on, you see what's going on. It's just you have the
Absolutely.
opportunity to see it, and I put it in the tab, and there you go. So
Okay.
I'll make a separate tab for that, a guide, for that. So it's very hello Lou, hello magical, wonderful Lou. I just so love you, Lou. I just so love you. Yes, Lou. Yes, Lou.
She
See, Lou
goes.
is understanding the magic of the nobleness.
Yeah. She's definitely.
Yeah,
She is noble. That's all
yeah,
there is to it.
yeah,
She is
yeah,
noble.
yeah, absolutely. Lou is too incredible. Exactly, exactly,
Somebody just
exactly.
got up.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful.
He's a little sleepy.
Wonderful. All
Okay,
right,
I'm
brilliant.
gonna go get this
So
household rolling.
yeah, so we'll plan around this. We've got lots to do.
We do.
So we're going to be doing this twice.
Okay.
We're going to be doing it, you and I and me, in our things, and share that. But we're also going to be, or at least I'm going to be doing it on the Sundays. And if you come, you come. If you don't, you don't, right? But they will be the same thing, but we do it done on different timelines. In other words,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
All right.
because this is something that can be done multiple times. It can't be done enough.
Right.
Yeah, I love it. I
All
love
right.
it.
Love it. Have a
Brilliant,
good
brilliant.
one.
All right, you too, Sher. You
Talk to
too.
you.
Oh, so awesome, so awesome. Bye bye,
Bye-bye.
Sher. Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye.